thank you so much for joining me here today at Re-Written Vintage Homestead. It's wintertime, it's cloudy, it's cold, so I thought we would do a fun activity here today, and this is fun for the kids to join in with as well. We're going to make some stone soup, and we're going to talk about kitchen composting. So if you don't remember the story of stone soup, it's a European story, it's very old, and it begins with a soldier who walks into a town during an extreme famine. There was no food to be found, and what food every household did have, they hid it in their home so that nobody else could take it and they would have it for themselves. So the soldier wandered into town one day and he asked the people that he ran into if he could sleep, if they had a bed he could sleep on, and could he join them for dinner. Well, of course, everybody said, no, you won't find any food around here. And no, you can't stay with us. And they would shut the door and lock it and pull the curtains and hide themselves. Well, the soldier, he said, that's no problem, no problem. So he went into the middle of the square of the town where everybody could see him. And under his coat, he pulled out a huge pot. And he started a fire under that pot. And he added some water. The water started boiling. Well, a man came by and he was very curious. And he said, what is it that you're doing? Oh, I'm really hungry, so I'm going to make myself some delicious stone soup. Stone soup, the gentleman said. He'd never heard of it. Oh, it's a delicacy where I'm from. And out of his pocket, the man pulled out a stone. Now, I'm not going to put a stone in ours today. We're going to pretend with a potato. So he put it in the pot. Stirred it around a little bit. Oh, it's starting to smell so good. You know, I used to really, really like to have stone soup with some meat in it. And the man said, you know what? I might have a little bit of meat at home. Let me run home and get it. So to this stone, which is our potato, I fried up some hamburger. We're going to add that to our pot. You can also use roast, leftover chicken, whatever you guys have at home. Put it in your pot. So this is for tomorrow. And I'm just going to let it cook in the crock pot all day on low for about 8 hours. Because I'm going to have a fun day tomorrow. I'm going to work on my crafts. So far I have some hamburger, some ground beef, and I have a potato. Well, a woman looked out her window and she saw the soldier in the big pot of boiling water and her neighbor out there. And he had found some meat. And they were standing by smelling the deliciousness of the pot. So being nosy as she was, she said, what are you doing? And her neighbor said, we're making stone soup. Stone soup, she said. I never heard of such a thing. And he goes, oh, yes, it's really good with potatoes. Well, I have potatoes down in my cellar, she said. So she ran home as fast as she could, and she got some potatoes. So we're going to add some potatoes to our hamburger. And just then a little girl walked by. And she said, what are you guys doing? Well, we're making stone soup. Stone soup? I've never heard of such a thing. Oh, but I bet it's going to be wonderful if you had some corn. We have some corn put up in our house. I'll go ask my mom. So she ran home as fast as she could and came back with a bunch of corn. These recipes are the ones that I love, you guys. They're the ones that use whatever I have left over in the refrigerator and all of the good things that I froze or that I canned during the summer. So it makes me proud too. So to this, I'm going to add some of my diced tomatoes that I did over the summer. And they smell like summer too. And as they were cooking, an old man came up and he said, That's starting to smell really good. Oh, yes, yes, said the little girl. This is stone soup. Haven't you ever heard of it? No, he said, I've never heard of it, but it does smell good. Oh, she said, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had more vegetables to add to it? Well, I think I have something at home, and let me check with my neighbors. They may have something at home. Well, he came back shortly after, and he had brought some celery that he had put away. His neighbor next door had some carrots, and Miss Re-Written, the nosy neighbor, she had put away some green beans. And to all of this deliciousness, we are going to add some tomato soup, tomato juice. And let's pour that in there. Well, the stone soup was almost complete. And then the soldier said, it is going to miss something though. I wish we had some spices. I wish there was something that would spice it up just a little bit. And one of the women who was standing there said, oh, I have onions and salt and pepper. Let me run home real quick and get it. So she did, and we are going to add that next. We're going to add some onion. And you're going to add salt and pepper to taste. Oh, it looks so good. I want you guys to see. Now this is going to cook all day tomorrow. I'm going to make some beer bread to go with it. And when I get home, we're going to have some stone soup and some bread. I also have a bag here that I've had of frozen vegetables that I wanted to do something with. It's about time that I do something with it. So I'm going to add those two. I should have enough to feed everybody in the neighborhood. So that's what I'm going to do. And all the people in the village, they had enough soup that everyone could eat. So they all sat down together and they all had their stone soup and they all thanked each other for sharing. And the soldier didn't have any trouble finding a place to sleep that night. They were so impressed with him that they let him stay. Actually, quite a few of them tried to buy the magic stone from him so they could make their own stone soup. But he said it was handed down from his grandma. So he didn't want to give it away, but he thanked them for the offer and he went on his way to another town. So you guys make you some stone soup and let your kids or your grandkids help you. And in the meantime, let's talk about kitchen composting. So when you make a meal like we just finished, stone soup, you're going to have a lot of kitchen scraps left over. And as you guys know, I've done kitchen composting for a long time. But there's different ways that you can do it, and I wanted to go over that with you. So as you guys remember, when I started kitchen composting, I usually just used whatever I could find. So this is just an old ice cream container, and I would add my scraps to that and then run out to the garden and dump it after a few days. But let's say that, here it is wintertime. You don't want to run out to the garden every few days because it's cold. Also, you can't mix it in there really good right now when the ground's frozen, but you still want to do your composting. I wanted to show you what my number one fan got me for Christmas. She got me this compost bin for the kitchen, and it's really nice. Now, it's enamel. And it's large, so it's going to hold a lot of waste. The top has vents in it, and then it has a charcoal filter here. So the charcoal filter is what helps seal it so that you don't get the smell. Now let's say you don't have the money right now, or you don't want to spend the money to buy a compost, a fancy one like this one for your kitchen. You can make one. So if you save your coffee containers like this, and then the lid You take the lid and you drill some small holes in it so that you get oxygen. And you can buy the charcoal filters where they sell pool supplies. And they're about $3. And you can see you'll have to cut it down just slightly. I don't want to open this or I'm going to lose, I'll activate it. But if you were going to do this, you would put that in there, cut it down slightly so it would fit, put it over the top, and this is the same thing as the more expensive, okay? Now, mine's about ready to stir. I've had it going for a while. So let's talk about composting. You have to have 3 ingredients: nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon. You get your nitrogen from your vegetables. So from our soup today, I saved all of my potato peelings, all of my vegetable peelings. So you want to think about nitrogen are going to be your vegetables, okay? Your carrots, your celery, your leafy greens, your spinach, your kale. All right, so I have that ingredient. Now I'm not going to use citrus. That won't work. I'm not going to use dairy. That'll just go rotten. I'm just going to use vegetables, things like eggshells, coffee grounds. That's all I'm going to put in my kitchen compost. So I've added the nitrogen. Now, if you have tea bags or if you have coffee grounds, then you're going to have what you need in here for your carbon. But let's say that you don't. You don't drink caffeinated drinks. You're going to have to add some carbon. So what I've done was I shredded up a little brown paper bag. And I'm going to add that to it. Now your carbon would be for your big outdoor compost. That would be your leaves, your straw, your pine cones, brown things, anything brown and dry. Now you have to get the oxygen flowing too. So even in this big bin, I'm going to have to shake it a couple times a week and let it circulate. Or take the top off, give it a good stir so that all of these things mix together and it gets some oxygen. And you want to do that too, even if you use one of these or you use something as simple as this. You don't want mold and that kind of thing to get on your scraps. You want to keep it stirred, get that oxygen in there so that it stays fresher longer without smelling. So why do you want to go through all this trouble? Well, number one, we didn't just throw it away, so it's not going in the landfill. We're feeding nutrients back into the ground. So we're recycling, we're doing something good for the environment. You guys, I hope you'll give kitchen composting a try. It's really easy and it's fun. I hope you enjoy your stone soup. I'll show you a picture of it when I'm ready to ladle it out into the bowls tomorrow. And I hope you guys have a great week. Come back and see me. Like, subscribe, and share if you feel so inclined.